curious to see how Reynor has been adjusting his PvZ, considering how the meta has been evolving. We'll get into it. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Sandstorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player. We have the Italian Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. And welcome on all to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. Has a very open third base, very open fourth base, and very open natural. It's just open. It's just open all over the place. Very open, very accessible, and as a result, we see a lot of all-ins on Tourmaline. A lot of successful all-ins, I should add, even against MaxPax. So I'm going to be a little bit concerned here. The map pool is going to be a big factor, the patch as well. So quickly touching on what we were getting at, the meta of PvZ has been shifting. In the previous map pool, there were a lot more there were a lot more maps that had defensive bases, where you can set up on a 3, 4, and even 5 base economy, but mainly 4 base economy, and max out as a Protoss player defensively. You could see this on Tokamak, you could see this on Incorporeal, on Maganatha, on Persephone as well. There were certain features, certain aspects which did allow for just a more safer and defensive setup. And there are some of those maps here in this current map pool. I would say like Winter Madness, like White Rabbit. There are some maps where you can try to pull that off on, but for the most part, I would say that there are a lot of really open maps. I'm referring to, I mean, Old Republic is the most extreme version of that, but I'm referring to the Old Republic, referring to Tourmaline, referring to Re-Rock, referring to 10,000 Feet, referring to, what's the other map? Oh, right, Title Citadel. Title Citadel is crazy. But there are a lot of bases that are exposed. There are a lot of maps that are actually quite difficult to maintain a proper 4-base economy. Even I'm referring to Celestial Enclave as well. Like you have your pocket base, that is true, but you do spread yourself thin quite freely actually, and we have seen players struggle to defend on Celestial Enclave as well. So as a result, we have a much more aggressive kind of meta of ZvP. Because it is harder to defend on 4 bases, we've been seeing a lot of all-ins. A lot of all-ins have been in the mix, and Solar has been the most successful as a result. Solar, he's been getting some really good results over the past like month. I want to say over the past 3 weeks. Over the past 3 weeks, Solar has been excelling, especially in this matchup because of non-stop all-ins. Non-stop 3-base all-in after 3-base all-in after 3-base all-in, and Protoss players like MaxPax, like Hero, like Classic have been struggling to defend. And I'm curious to see if Reynor is going to do the same. I don't think there's a reason not to be honest. Especially here on Tourmaline. There's no reason not to. It's one of those things where I will say the patch itself did help Protoss when it comes to being more defensive. I'm referring to the Storm, the change to Storm. Storm is a really powerful zoning tool, and Storm can do quite well defensively. But when the map is as open as it is, when these bases are as open as they are, Storms matter that much less. You can avoid them. You can avoid them and just rush past regardless. MaxPax opening up Void Ray. Interesting, you have my attention. Now, very quickly, because the meta has been shifting and because aggression has been more prevalent, Protoss players have been more aggressive as well. We've been seeing a lot more aggression in PvZ. We've been seeing less standard openers, you know, Stargate, Oracle into a 3rd base, into +1 Blink, into Storm. That has been rare nowadays amongst the top Protoss players, amongst like Hero, Classic, and MaxPax. That style has been more rare. And we've been seeing them mix it up because they have to. They've been forced to. Being tech heavy and defensive is not as viable as it once was. As Link is going to do their units around. They get a full surround. Void Ray moves out. The Void Ray is going to be denying vision. And what are we hiding? What is the plan? Void Ray does get an Overlord. Overlord falls. Wardi pulls away. We're going for a second Stargate. Let's go. We're setting up for what looks to be a Tempest Rush, assuming we're going for a Fleet Beacon as well. No shot. Mass Void? Oh. Are we going? Okay, so instead of a Fleet Beacon, this could be double Stargate Void Ray into charge. This could be into a Twilight Council. What's it going to be? Twilight Council or Fleet Beacon? It's going to be one of them. There's a Fortune +1. We're leading towards Twilight Council. Pylon is gonna fall, the shield battery as well. These things are getting out of hand. And the Void Ray is so slow to respond. The Oracle is out of position, racing back home. The space is taking a lot of hits. And Reynor so far has had a better start. And more Void Rays building up. No shot, this is just for cannons, right? There we go. There's, it's a late Twilight Council is what I will say. So late Council, again, I believe this should be for charge. For Mass Void Ray into charge, which is a build. Which is something we've seen before. But it just feels really late. Like, in general, this build is lopsided here. We have the Forge, but where's +1? Late Twilight Council, late charge. Ideally want them lined up together. Partly because of the delayed mining at the third base, true. So the build has been disrupted. +1 finally begins. But this is a shaky game here for MaxPax. There's charge on the way. Meanwhile, Overlord Speed. What I see? I see an all-in. A German taxi is building up. No surprise. Oh, as one Void Ray gets sniped. That should not have happened. But we mentioned this at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the series. What did we say? All-ins are favored here. All-ins are favored. We're cutting workers early. We have a 4th base just for lava. Overlord Speed is on the way. And we're going for a big 3-base Roach Queen all-in. We're loading up the taxi. We are sending it across the map as we've even cancelled +1 range. And if you notice, +1 range was being researched earlier. It was cancelled. It was cancelled because we don't need upgrades where we're going. We don't need them back. Where are we going? To Germany. Let's go. Here it comes. The Dropper Lords. We're loading up. 2 Dropper Lords here at the 3rd base. More Lings and Roaches are amassing. You have Mass Overlord being fanned out to spread creep. And here comes the all-in. Here comes the push. Behind us, what do we have to defend? We have a wall of cannons on the way. +1, it looks like it's not really going to factor in. Charge also isn't done. Storm is being chronoed as we speak. You can see how vulnerable MaxPax has nothing. He has 3 voids and some psych defense. He has 3 voids and a dream. Storm may finish in time with chrono. It's going to be close. But again, there's barely an army here. It's 3 Void Rays. It's 4 High Templar. Looks like they will have Storm. Here comes the Warp in. As Reynor supply blocked, okay. Does it supply blocked? There's the first Storm. Lings they collapse in. They do get one of the High Templar. They force out a second Storm. There's what, 2 Storms left. There's one. And we're waiting for the other. And I believe there should be one more. Storm grazing the army. Reynor being so careful with his Road Ravager, pulling away. Doesn't overextend. Biles are connecting. And that's the final Storm. That's all he had. That's all MaxPax had left. That was the final Storm. There's still plenty of Road Ravager remaining. Biles, ooh. Biles are connecting. Another Void Ray falls down to 2 Void Rays. Other Biles. Oh my god. But Biles, they range out on everything. And with that, Reynor has done it. Reynor, he has broken MaxPax. Charge also trickling in. They do get on top of the Roaches. They get on top of the Ravagers. Where are the reinforcements? I mean, I'm sure the supply block didn't help, but Roach Speed just now beginning, +1 range just now beginning. Reynor just trying to spend his money. Just trying to spend it back. I mean, lack of injects did hurt. Does pull away, does inject. Queen's pushing forward. And Reynor's getting ready for the second wave. He's looking. He is. He's paying attention. Let's pull away. Once again, Reynor, his supply blocked. Time and time again. And Reynor, he's got 5 High Templar. He's got 3 Immortals. He has no support for the Immortals. Bear that in mind, at least not currently. Max is hitting a 4th base. That's very ambitious. shame. Reynor is maxed. Reynor at this point is maxed out. How's the zoning? There's a first storm. There's still, what, 4 storms left? It's a decent chunk of storms. But again, there's just so much room to traverse here. Oof. Does go back into the storm zone. Goes back in. Gets behind the middle line. 14 probes going to be falling. Another storm lands. The storms have been decent, but again, there's just nothing on the ground. There's no follow-up. Oof. As piles, they catch one of the Void Rays, they catch the Archons. And again, previously MaxPax was broken, and now there's nothing remaining here. Nothing at the third base. 28 probe kills. GG gets called, and Reynor takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. And again, a really awkward build here out of MaxPax, winding it back. Remember, what did MaxPax do? He went Void Ray into Oracle, into second Stargate, into delayed Forge, and into an even more delayed Twilight Council, into late +1. Like, it all felt lopsided, it all felt uneven, it felt very messy, but that is partially because of the Ling Flood, right? Because of Ling aggression, Reynor, he was able to kill the pylon, kill a shield battery, get some worker kills, get the adepts, and delay mining at the third base and force a reinvestment into those pylons and into those shield batteries, and that did delay the Twilight Council, right? That's part of the reason why the Twilight Council was late. The build was meant to be crisp, but once a couple of things go wrong and go awry, it throws a wrench in the works. It looks like maybe a build that maybe MaxPax isn't too comfortable with, isn't too well versed in, so once things were starting to go a little bit wrong, like, everything kind of fell apart. It all fell apart. GG, well played. And with that, Reynor takes game 1, and now we're loading into game number 2. Let's go. Loading into that second game. Vamos, baby, vamos. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Danish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. And welcome to 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet is another one of these more aggressive maps. It is not as open, it is not as exposed as Tourmaline, not at all, but despite that, I mean, it still has its own vulnerabilities. We do have a relatively secure 4-base setup, but the resistance by ground is shorter, and on top of that, the base, well, this is a backwards base. It means that the mineral line is facing towards your opponent, so you can bile, you can harass lurkers, Ravager biles, air-based units as well. It can be quite difficult to maintain this center expansion, and if you decide to expand linearly instead, then you're going to spread yourself thin. So we'll see if MaxPax can build up to a proper 4-base economy, and we'll see if Reynor can stop it. Or we'll see what kind of all-in Reynor goes for, because we're expecting another 3-base all-in. We'll see. Doesn't have to be a German taxi. We just max out and go for a Hydra timing. We can go for Ling Hydra, Ling Bane Hydra. We can skip the Evo Chamber upgrades. Show us what you got. Go. So what does poke in. So one of those games. As we mentioned before, if you're in the chat, this is a replay cast. The reasoning for this is because ever since daylight savings in Europe, ever since daylight savings time, Wardi's tournament does start very late for us. It starts very, very late, so we are no longer casting it live. We used to cast it live every single week, but ever since daylight savings, that would have been in October, if I recall correctly, like end of October-ish, if not middle of October. Ever since then, we do cover via replays a couple of days later instead, just because it starts late. Which didn't used to be a problem, but I mean now I'm looking after my bunnies back. My bunnies. But there we go. Here we go. For now, we are just going to be droning, saturating. Once again, another Void Ray opener out of MaxPax. Now, I would expect this to be a different build. Last game was Void Ray into Oracle, into Second Stargate, into Mass Void Ray. Here, Void Ray into Twilight Council, Void Ray into Fleet Beacon, Void Ray into Standard Game. We have possibilities, we have options. Oh, that's a lot of Zerglings. Reynor is cutting workers early at 27. We have 12 more Lings on the way. The goal here for Reynor is to shut down the third and maybe even find some more damage. And Void Ray first is going to hurt MaxPax. Void Ray is revealed, Lings, they move out. Now, the reason why this hurts MaxPax is that the DPS rate, the attack rate of the Void Ray is lower than that of the Oracle. The Oracle would just shut this down. The Void Ray has a much slower attack rate instead, so it is not ideal against a massive wave of Lings. We'll see if Reynor can force a cancel. So Reynor's here on the right hand side. He wants to wait for the Void Ray to reveal itself, to make sure the Void Ray is as out of position as possible. Second Stargate, same build. Void Ray is revealed. Here come the Lings. Yeah, here come the Lings. They collapse on the third. They go straight for the expansion. Straight for the Nexus. Void Ray is deflected. And they're basically going to be cancelled. That's a massive pickoff here. Aye. Third base is going to be denied. Takes out one of the Adepts. Oracle is revealed, but again, it was an Oracle after the Void Ray, and this looks like the same build. Yep, there we go. We have the Forge, and we should be seeing a Twilight Council as well. But with the diminished economy, greatly diminished. Clearly, MaxPax, he sees something about this build. He sees something. Does he need glasses? Is he seeing something we're not? I don't know. I'm not fully convinced, but I mean, I say I'm not fully convinced. It is unfortunate that he's doing this and he gets his third base denied. So like, this is going to slow everything else down. There we go. Much later, Twilight Council +1 can soon begin. But again, a delayed Twilight Council. Lings, they poke in once again. They confirm that there's still a base on the way. And Reynor, he can just go for the same reaction, to be honest. He can just go for the same reaction and response and go for Overlord speed. Lair is now done. And what's it going to be? Once again, we're expecting charge out of MaxPax. Void Rays, they're going for the fourth. They force a cancel. Not bad. Oh, and Reynor, he's going for the Spire. He's going for Mutaplay. Okay. Now, this is a really bold move. Now, on the one hand, Mutas are going to be amazing, especially if MaxPax goes into charge, right? And once again, everything's delayed here. Like, we have the Forge for what? Like, there's no upgrade here. There's delayed charge, I should say, as well. He's building up into Archons, into Storm. But again, it's going to be Charge or Archon Storm. There is not going to be Blink. Anti-air is limited. I will say this is risky because if MaxPax scouts, if he realizes what's going on, he already has a second Stargate. He can just go into Mass Phoenix. Like, Mass Phoenix would completely shut this down, but only if he scouts. Only if MaxPax is aware. And if he fails to scout, well, I mean, that's going to be game. What are we going to do? Fight a Mutafolk with Void Rays? Oh. So MaxPax is in a rough position. Reynor's keeping up. He wants one of the Voids. Does get a bit of hull damage. Good. Sleep. I'd be sleeping. No, I don't sleep, unfortunately. When I say I'm looking after the bunnies, I usually go to bed at like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. Looking after the bunnies. And then we like sleep for 4 hours and we wake up and cast. And then we do it all over again. Oh, as Lings bust in! That should not have happened. The wall is not a wall. The hero! Lings get a full scouts. And here come the Mutas. Yeah, the Mutas are on the way. And again, anti-air is very limited. Now we do have a defensive cannon in the mineral line. Okay. Oracle goes in. The Oracle does scout. It does confirm. It is now aware, but the Mutas have already arrived. Ooh, the Oracle will barely make it out. And back at home, Phoenixes. Phoenix production has begun. Now, this is why this was a bold move here, because we can make 2 Phoenixes at a time. We'll see how much damage is going to be done before the Phoenixes amass. As Reynor's committing, he's got +1 air attack on the way. Going for the pits. Getting ready for the potentially ultras. Ryu's actually going for the Void Ray, okay. Gets one, gets a Phoenix. Trades with the army, not ideal. Mutas have rotated towards the main. Get a couple of probes. 5 probes go down. MaxPax taking a 4th. And currently MaxPax is holding his own. He's holding his own. The Mutas have been okay, but now you can see that Reynor is switching. I assumed it was going to be Ultra Tech, but no. He's going for a Hydrogen Hive Tech into Lurkers. It takes a long time to hard switch like this into Lurker Tech. Here come the 13 Hydras. These poke in, they get one of the Mutas, they pull away. Here comes a Fleet Beacon, MaxPax building up the Sky Toast, or at least trying to. And he scouts the Hydras, he knows. So now MaxPax, he can cross off Ultras. He's like, oh, okay, you're spending your gas on Hydras, you're working towards Lurkers, and you know what that means? That means your Lurker Tech is late because of the Mutas. And MaxPax, he has potential. There's a first Storm. MaxPax, he can take a fight, but he doesn't take his chances. He pulls away, doesn't want to get surrounded. Doesn't want to get locked down. Oh, it's still going into Ultras. Okay, interesting. I assumed that because he was going for the Hydrogen, it would be for Lurker Tech, but no, it is still going to be Ultras. Okay. Interesting. Carrier production has begun. I wonder if this is meant to be a fake out. Because the Hydras got scouted, I'm curious if Reynor now he wants to respond with Ultras to try to catch his opponent off guard. Thankfully for Reynor, it's going to be Carrier, not Tempest. Carriers don't scale as well. But they can still punish a player that doesn't have Corruptors. Cancellation. Lings, they do collapse in. So far, MaxPax is defending well. Because this game and because the build of Reynor, again, like any kind of Lurker Tech or Siege Race units are heavily delayed, he's been tech switching a lot. So denying mining here is not as easy as it otherwise should be for Reynor. MaxPax is maxing out. He's maxing out. Reynor, he's failing to deny that. Getting troll in. So far, just 2 probes. And I'll be honest, I'm not very convinced by Reynor's army. As we're maxing out, there's a couple of things going on here. One, MaxPax's army is also a little bit subpar. He's got Storm, Archon, Immortal, Carrier, no Tempest production, but it's fine because there's no siege units, right? What do you need Tempest for? You need Tempest for Broodlords, you need Tempest for Lurkers, but there are none. There's no Lurkers, there's no Broodlords. Reynor, he's stuck on Lingbane Hydra because he had to switch out of Mutatech. He didn't go into Lurkers, he went into the Ultra Cabinet instead, but likewise, he's also lacking the Ultra Speed upgrade, and he has no room for Ultras themselves. Like, Reynor's army is very fragile right now. It's very fragile, very vulnerable. One wrong move, he will lose everything. He will lose everything to like 2 storms. There's no backbone to the army, not yet. So he's trading. Headed for the mineral line. Does head in, Bailey's, they don't get away. Oh my god, massive connections, gets 11 probes, breaks the expansion, and MaxPax is going for the base trade. He's going for the base trade, he just gives up on the bases. 2 bases will fall, and MaxPax is just going for the kill. And again, I don't believe that Reynor can stop this. Like, the soup is lying right now. The soup says that Reynor is maxed, but one army's not quite like the other. We have 7 ultras in production. Okay, he does have his ultra upgrades. Okay, we have a recall. Recall's back home. Reynor pulls away. Now, this recall is saving Reynor, to be honest. Like, if this army just kept pushing, and if he was able to catch, like, 2-3 ultras at a time as they were popping out from the eggs, like, I'm pretty sure MaxPax ends the game. But thanks to the recall, now Reynor can look to stabilize, or at least consolidate his army, right? Reynor can consolidate everything, bring it all together. We have spine crawlers on the way, spores on the way. Ultras are all amassing together. And again, this wouldn't have been possible except for the recall. Like, thanks to the recall, Reynor, he's massing up. And then once again, he's just distracting, just keeping the main army busy. And now we have, what, 9, soon to be 10 ultras. That's a lot of ultras, papi. Cloak was just used, true. Cloak was just used on the expansion, on the base, to save it. Cloak is on cooldown. But I would want to see a fight soon. The scary thing about waiting here is that MaxPax, he's 1, replenishing his economy, which needs some time, of course. But 2, the carriers. The Skytoss here is slowly getting larger. And the anti-air for Reynor is lacking. He's got 5 Corruptors on the way against the 7 carriers. As MaxPax is moving in. Lingze once again hit the center expansion. MaxPax, he turns around. But again, there's no saving the space. And this decision that MaxPax is now making, I feel like should have been made earlier. There was never saving this expansion. It's never gonna happen. And now we have an army. Now Reynor, he's got his ultras stuck in the main. Reynor trying to take this slow. Looking to collapse in. The choke point is brutal. Massive storm on the ramp. The slow zone as well. The ultras, they're trying to break through. Lands a couple of fungals. And they get a messy fight here. The ultras, they should win on the ground. Do they though? They do. Yeah, they break through the ground army. But there's still 3 Archons remaining. 3 Archons left. Is that enough? We have 6 ultras and 17 corruptors. Reynor, he should have enough to defend. It's gonna be close, but he should have enough. Reynor starts mining, still has an economy. So again, he needs a little bit more time. Onto the ultras! Oh no! Ultra gets caught out, forced to engage, and we commit. We commit in. Lingze collapse on the Archons. Carries are going down. He gets 1, he gets 2. Should get up to 4 carriers. There we go, the 4th carrier will fall. There's 2 carriers remaining. Oh, they're not enough corruptors though. Actually switching targets to the mothership. Okay. Guess the mothership. And GG gets called. MaxPax, he does not have enough here, down to 2 carriers, and Reynor will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. A really unique build here by MaxPax. I'm still not entirely sold on it, but at the same time, I should also admit that we never saw the build we never saw the build. What I mean by that is both in game 1 and in game 2, MaxPax's opener was disrupted, right? He had a really rough opener. Game 1, he lost his pylon, his shield battery, his adepts. He had to turn back around. Like, the Lings were doing a lot of damage across the map. Here it was even worse. Here in game 2, the Lings, they killed the third. They forced a cancel. Because of that, MaxPax's economy was delayed, and because of that, his upgrades were late, his tech was late. Like, everything was just messy there for MaxPax. So we never really saw a clean execution of what was meant to be this build of double Stargate, double Void Ray into charge lots, into +1, into Archon and Storm. We never really got to see that clean execution. We never got to see the ideal of what that build can accomplish. I'm still not entirely convinced, to be honest, of the build itself. But also, I mean, Reynor, he was very aggressive and he was punishing him time and time again with his Ling Floods. And with that, MaxPax just had a really rough early game. Despite that, I will say that I was very impressed by MaxPax's ability to deal with the mid game. But that's also on Reynor. I'm shocked that he went Muta. Like, going into Muta against a player that opens double Stargate is crazy. It's crazy, baby. And it didn't really work. I would say the Mutas didn't really pay for themselves. They killed one Void Ray, they killed one Phoenix, and I think that's it. They might have killed like 1 or 2 pros, but nothing too meaningful. Like, the Muta play wasn't really worth it. We saw that from the Mutas, he was trying to switch into Hydra tech, which was scouted. After he got scouted, he switched into Ultras. Like, it was messy all around. It was messy all around. Messy from MaxPax, messy from Reynor. MaxPax was able to recover, max out, and I do believe that if MaxPax continued with the base trade, he would have killed Reynor, but he chose to recall. I'm speaking of the moment when he chose to recall to save his center expansion, which he lost anyway, but he recalled to save the base, and we spoke about it, where Reynor didn't really have much of a standing army. He had 10 ultras in production, but they were trickling in like 1 ultra at a time from the bases. If the base rate had continued, there's a very high chance that he kills those ultras 1 at a time as they spawn out, and then he can get into the main base, get into the tech, and then recall thereafter. But MaxPax made the decision to recall earlier to save his economy somewhat, but it wasn't really worth it because he didn't save the economy. Went down anyway. GG. GG, well played. A very chaotic series, a very interesting setup there from MaxPax is what I will say. And with that, congratulations to Reynor. Congratulations. With that, we are going to be getting into our next set of matches. Going to be getting into our semifinals. Fairway decision making from Max. Seems like he could have punished this odd Muta play. I believe so, right? Like, I still stand by the fact that Reynor was very vulnerable for a time, and I think the base trade was the best chance that Reynor had. But at the same time, MaxPax, he was achieving a lot with it. Like, he was just barreling through bases until he chose to turn around, or until he chose to recall. So it was very messy play. But with that, GG, well played. Regardless, we're going to be heading into the semifinals. What this series feels like, to me at least. To me, it feels, especially because I haven't really seen MaxPax and many players embrace this build. I've seen Hero do it successfully, like mix it into a series, but I've never seen MaxPax rely on this as much as he did in this series. It feels like he's just like testing things out. It feels like, he's like, you know what, I've got this build that I'm kind of working on. Let's just see how it goes, and let's just test it out here against Reynor. And I would not be surprised if he never does it again. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the last we see of the double Stargate Void Ray into +1 charge Storm. Like, it's time will tell, of course. Time will tell. But for now, at least, for this tournament, MaxPax was testing it out, and I mean, come next week, we'll see if he does it again, right? We'll see if MaxPax continues with this build, or if he sets it aside and he's like, you know what, it's still gotta cook. It's we'll see. It's definitely something that's gonna be in the back of my mind the next time we see MaxPax in a PvZ.